Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Jake's Chop Shop. On this episode we got not only one, but two bag VZ Utes. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so the Utes are almost wrapped up. As you can see, there's bits and pieces going on. It's still a bit of a mess, shit's going crazy. I've just started painting some plastics. So around the front grills, I took out the inserts and whatnot. So there's a few plastics around the car and the windscreen wipers. I will actually quickly show you. All right, so getting started in the modification, the customizations with the Ute is the interiors. So first thing I'm gonna do before we do anything to the seats, the rest of the carpet, the dash, whatever, is the roof lining. So I wanna convert the blue Ute to a black roof lining, black pillars, whatnot. So I think it looks a lot neater. It gives you a different feel inside the car. It also does actually stay a bit cleaner, I find as well. So we've got the side plastics, the pillar trims here. What I'm doing is I've got some Prepsol in a squirter bottle and some grey Scotchy. So I'm going over the pillars and scotching with some Prepsol to clean all those interior cleaning products up that have built up over the years. That all has to be ripped off. And then we're gonna go paint it in the 2K, sort of like a satin black, matte black on the in between that sort of area. And yeah, get that started. And then we're gonna do the roof lining. So they're both gonna get a suede roof lining and I think it's gonna tie in real nice. So let's get into it. All right, so before we jump in the booth, I'm gonna put this in the gun. So you don't put any reducer with it, you just put this straight in your gun. I'm gonna run a coat over everything in the booth. So all the plastics, the trim pieces, because what this is gonna do, you can use this plastic primer or just adhesion promoter. You can get this from Paint Tech. What it's gonna do is it's just gonna make everything stick a little bit better. It's a must, all right? Because you don't want stuff flaking on your plastic because it does happen if it's not prepped right or whatnot. So we're gonna avoid that and we're gonna run this. Let's get it done. Spray, as you just seen, one dust coat. Don't pump it on wet, just dust it on. It'll dry super thin. It's it just sort of flashes off and then you can't even tell it's on there at the end. So another day, another dollar. We've got Jed here. He's a big resto guy now with his trade school gear on. Roof lining's coming apart. Okay, so this roof lining is out of the blue Ute. We are going to wrap it in this wannabe suede material here. Now I picked this up from Spotlight. Not bad, pretty cheap. All right, so first step is remove your roof lining, pull the old roof lining off the board. If there's any foam or remnants left on the board, you need to get rid of that, flatten it off. Obviously, polishing has begun on this ute. We've got to rip this roof lining out of this bad boy. So take your pillar trims off, take your sun visors, your light, it pops out. That's good. We will touch base on the door card we did. So I'm just waiting on some more material from Temu. But we've got a bit of a, like a suede look going on in here. That's real nice, real bougie, right? I like that. So like I said, simple things we're doing to this car. It's gonna make a big difference. I'll rip out the roof lining in the ute. I gotta put some door cards back in it. I gotta go for an ID inspection tomorrow, so plenty of things going on. Meanwhile, just an update on Sam's appearance. He has dyed his beard. Sam, do you want to show us your beard?
Not necessarily, mate.
All right, so he's actually dyed his beard, so that's happening. So lots going on here. Let's get back to it. Flip this one over for me. I want this upside down. So what we're gonna do, we've got Jake's trim shop here. Get some contact adhesive, some headliner, something like this. I'll show you what it looks like. So you know what you're dealing with. Bit of this sort of look. That's how you know you got the right stuff. What you want to do, right, real simple, is you want to coat this in contact adhesive, right? So get a couple of these ones going. You want to just get it all over the roof lining, especially around the edges, underneath where you're going to wrap it around. All right, that's pretty crucial. 10, 20 minutes, all good. But then what you want to do is on this side of this roof lining, the same thing. All right, real simple. So now what we're going to do is just lay it on. Now I want you to hold it tight, move back, down. All right. So you want to work it generally from the center a little bit. If you stick it down, you can always lift it up. So I'll get the center where I want it to be. Make sure you don't touch the contact adhesive on the suede, you'll have a shit time. We got our roof lining on, and now what we're doing is we're going to cut out our light surrounds, all the bits and pieces, just a razor blade. I cut it about here, and then you put little slits in it and fold it over itself with the contact adhesive sprayed, and that's how we're gonna get our nice corners. Let's get that done. Here we are, the roof lining is done. Don't mind, there's a few little creases in the side, but the trim will cover that. But there we go. It's looking all nice and bougie. And I also got to brush it in a direction. But there's a few little creases here. Let's see if we can get the next one a little bit better. But we'll see how it goes in the car. Overall, pretty happy. What do you reckon? Be honest.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. Look at this one. See, so we just peeled off another roof lining for you guys to have a look at. This is what normally happens if they're a factory one. You get all this like shit. Now, what do you recommend?
Well, there's two options. There's like the wire brush, and you like wire brush it.
Gently though.
Yeah, gently, of course. You don't want to damage the board. Or you can get like a red, like plastic brush for a drill. It's quite firm. And that strips it really quick.
There we go. Let's do that. This is one of these little wheels that Aiden was talking about. You get this from Bunnings, I think, or Total Tools.
Yeah, something like that.
There we go. Boom. Show how easy it is. Right, so Aiden has just prepped this board up. Now, it looks like there's some texture, but this is smooth. This is nice. He's very thorough, all right? So let's get this liner on. Let's see if Aiden can do a better job than me. Let's do it. Come on. More professional than I am. All right, so he's cutting to the size. See, long story short, I actually showed Aiden initially how to do roof linings, but then he's done it for his mates and a few boys and everything, and the cars he flips, and he's got better at it. And he, if you're in Adelaide, I'll put his number in the description. You give him a call. We'll come do your roof lining. what's the name? But he's actually got way better than me. You know what I mean? He's now the professional. He's overtaken me tenfold. He's even got the strategies. He's going to give you some tips and tricks better than me. Anyway, show him how you do it.
So when you're by yourself, the best way to do it is do half at a time. So if you've got two people, you can spray the whole like fabric and spray this and put it later on. But by yourself, half and half. So I'll start with the board. And you're gonna go like 50% overlap.
Meanwhile, while I've got Aiden giving me a hand with the roof linings, a good friend of mine, Josh, is here. So Josh is a detailer. He does a lot of work for Australian Crash. Does some of his own work as well. We started with 1,000 wet rub. We went to a 1,500 wet rub, 2,000 wet rub, and then a 3,000 with these pads here. Got these bad boys from Paint Tech. They're not bad. With the orbital. So it was all, by the time you finish wet rubbing it using that process, it's pretty shiny. It's pretty easy to get up from there. Josh has now got a 3D pad. So a few videos ago on the Utes, you would have seen I mentioned Bill. You can get these pads from Bill. He's gone with a wall pad, and then we'll jump over to sort of like a foam pad and finish it off. So smashing that out, and I think he's using the 501, but you can also use the 510. Coming up nicely. No creases.
No creases.
You make it look easy. All right, so you've done that side, then you're going to repeat the process over this side.
Yeah.
I know, just like the brakes.
I have a bong here, cunt.
No, let me do a montage of just of the mullet.
No.
This is beautiful. Look at this. He's done it. Don't mind the fingerprints because you got to just push it all one way. But that is a nice roof lining. Look at the way he's neatly done that. That is el dente. El dente. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to begin. Right, I've literally just got back from the ID inspection here, which is pretty much a check. It's like a numbers check to make sure the car's not stolen, engine's the right number, whatever. When you have interstate reg, you have to do it, and it has to be stock when you take it through, or they can defect you. Anyway, I just got back. Now, before we get it any further, doing the trim, doing the bags, doing anything, right? I can't look at this motherfucker any longer like this. So first thing I'm gonna do, just for like the eyesore's sake in the video, right? So you can have a little bit of pleasure while you're just watching this bullshit process. I'm gonna quickly chuck some triple SLs in the rear, put the other struts back in the front, and just sit the SIGs back on the car because you can't even enjoy the video looking like that. Like that to me is, you know what I mean? And yeah, so first thing, I'm not even gonna film it. I'm just gonna chuck the springs in the back, struts in the front, and make it look how it should, and then we'll go about the airbags, all right? Like, boom. I'll check in when it's all done. So moving forward, what we've got are Coulson seats here that I've picked up from Costa Automotive. So I've got a pair of these bad boys, all retrimmed, super nice. We're going to quickly chuck them in the ute. So it does look all right. The trim's not bad, don't get me wrong. But we're going to put these seats in the blue ute and swap them over and see how we go. So I'm pretty excited. This might change the look of the car. We've also got a center console lid, a steering wheel, a shifter boot, a few different bits and pieces. We'll give the carpet a clean while we're at it. We still have to do a lot of suede wrapping, but we will get there when we get some more material. So we ordered some of this stuff here from Temu. We got a bit more coming. That's all looking good. I don't know if you guys can tell, but we got the suede roof lining in there. It's looking very nice. So progression, just bit by bit. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of things happening at different times. So it's a bit all over the place, but gonna make it happen and it's all gonna work out very nicely. Let's continue. It's Saturday now. We've got some head units here. Two nice, whatever the fuck they are. These bad boys. I like these type of head units because they got no weird buttons on the screen. I'm a big fan of that. I picked up these two surrounds and brackets. So both the utes, head units, because like I said, one of the crucial things when you're in a car, right? I don't listen to radio. I don't really listen to CDs. I just want to connect my phone, boom, Spotify, chuck some music on, killer, right? So you want the double din head unit. It's nice, you got the screen there, it's aesthetically pleasing. It just flows in, gives it a nice sort of modern touch. Even though the car is modern, they need a double din. So obviously all of this stuff from Auto Pro Kilkenny, the boys there. So this is what we're dealing with. So Brad had a few issues with this ute, a few too many tip-ins, head units come out, smashed itself to pieces. And that's just got an old single din head unit, no good. So we're gonna do those. We're gonna rip all the fascia out of the utes. There's some stuff I need to fix up. So all these surrounds and everything, I wanna paint them all black, right? We gotta fix up that top section there. Might paint the cluster surround black as well. Maybe even the vents. So we got a little bit of work to do. And we're gonna see how far we get. This other ute's looking very sad on the inside. But look at that, terrible. Everything from the steering wheel to the console, everything is just yuck. So that's no good. We're gonna have to do some stuff with this. We're gonna make it nice and bougie. All right, that's what you gotta do. You have one of these utes, it's gotta be done a certain way, in my opinion. So we're gonna do that, and now that the ute's looking a bit better, so I can work on it and not hate my life, let's get it. Let's get it. And check out these seats. Slapped the seats in last night. They're looking super nice. And also the console lid. Even though this is gonna come out, me and Sam took it for a bit of a cruise last night, so super happy. It's all coming together. You gotta remember, when you're building a car, if you can, enjoy it while you put it together. All right, it might be counterproductive, but I like to enjoy it. You know, every day, it's a blessing. So we gotta make sure we're having fun. Whatever you're doing, have fun while you're doing it. Right, that's a tip of advice. Don't take it too seriously. Everybody taking it too seriously, you need to just fucking relax yourself. All right, there's no competition. You gotta remember, you gotta do it for you. Let's get into it. I'm gonna rip these utes apart, the interiors, all the fascia and everything like that, and we'll get it ready for paint, have a play at putting these head units in, and we'll see how far we get tonight, hey? Let's rock and roll. so the interior is ripped apart in the ute. Everything's stripped apart from the door cards. Obviously the main bit of the dash is still in, all that sort of stuff. We're not touching that, we're just gonna clean it. So first thing we're gonna start is, this is gonna be a proper detail, proper nice. So I'm gonna start with using the air blower. Blow out everything, all right? You wanna make your job, don't take 10 years, right? Cleaning is fun for the first little bit. But we're gonna blow everything out, get all that dust out, everything like that. Wipe a few things down, and then I'm gonna hit it with the wet vac, and I'll show you a few little ideas that I have, that I use to try and get some staining out of carpet. So we're gonna clean all the inside of this, get it spick and span all alongside the seat where the console mounts, all the spots that you can't get to with everything together. So all down the bottom, around the shifter, whatnot, to get that super nice. And we're gonna start cleaning the floor. While we do the floor, we're gonna start wrapping a few bits and pieces and getting into it. All right, let's go, let's rock and roll. Okay, so now we've vacuumed, we've blown out the car, we've got the carpet clean, right? We've got all the little bits and pieces off of it. As much of the loose stuff as we can. What we're left with is that deep down grime and some staining. So you can probably see it. You all know this look. This is sort of what it's supposed to look like. You can see it's a lot more clean, a lot more, there's a bit more darkness to it. And then here we've got still dirt and shit in it and stains. So, we've got a few things. We've got a few things that I'm gonna do. So, we've got the trusty wet vac. But first, from Auto Pro or wherever you want, you can get some of these plastic bristled pieces. They usually come in a kit with a few different sizes and whatever, right? And what I got here, this is all I had on hand today, was a bit of pink car soap, so I diluted it with water. Boom. There might be a fabric one that might be a little bit better, or I'm thinking in the future, put a bit of like conditioner, like hair conditioner or something in it. See if it softens it up a bit. But we're pretty much gonna come in, and I'll give you an idea here because we can see, you know, what we're doing. If I show you there, it's gonna be too dark. Anyway, I get the carpet nice and wet. Boom. You grab your drill. You want to try and control your speed a little bit, but just gently. We're gonna go back and forth. And what we're gonna do is just work any grime out of the carpet, like loosen it up sort of thing. You know, go a bit of the other way. Just like so. So we'll do that, go over the whole carpet, give it like a, I don't know, what do you call that? Agitation or something. And then obviously you got all the grime still on the carpet. So then you want to grab a wet vac. It's actually Mr. Iron Empire's wet vac, but I've sort of just claimed it. Wet vac, suck all that grime up, all right? So go around, bristle all the car, and then we're gonna plug the wet vac in, wet vac all the carpet up. Now this is just like an eBay special. It's not that great, but it still does the job. So I'm sure you can find one for sub $100 online. So you can do this pretty cheap, pretty affordable. And trust me, when you see it all finished, you're gonna be like, yep, all right, it's worth it. And it just gives you that nice finish. Obviously these cars are not the same as an old car when you're getting carpets and stuff. I haven't even looked if you can get carpets for these fucking things, but it's not just like a carpet you lay in there, it's like foam backed and all this shit. So this is just the solution I come up with. So let's see how we go. right, so we've just finished wet vacuuming the carpet, as you've seen. Now, already before it's fully dried and everything, it's looking 100 times better. So if you can see now, before we had that full dusty look, right now it's just the lines from the wet vac in here, but 10 times better. You might not be able to tell on camera, but it is, you know what I mean? You can see from the front to the back, it's looking the same. Same on the other side, got rid of all those stains. A little bit of work, but definitely worth it. Everything's gonna go on top of the carpet, so we start with a good base. We're cleaning all those hard to get areas. You know, like down here, alongside the seats, all that sort of stuff. We get it all Mickey. We bolt our seats in, we put everything back in the car. It's just gonna accentuate all the good work we do, because you can do everything killer and then just have a shit carpet, and it's gonna make all your work. It's gonna take your eye from the good bits and just put it straight to the shit carpet. So everything plays a part, and especially in interiors, you gotta really take care because you're literally spending the most time within a meter of eye distance of every part you're looking at. So the outside of the car, almost in a weird way, doesn't have to be as good and detailed because you can stand literally like here, away from the car, and that's pretty much as close as you're going to get, like looking around the car when you're sussing your own car. But when you're in the interior, you're like right here. You know what I mean? So there's a difference. There's a big difference. Big difference. All right, so carpet's clean. The next thing I'm just going to figure out with this ute is, now we've got airbags going in the back, so back and the front of this car. So the airbag control is going to be hidden in the glove box. Pretty generic, right? Wow, not original. But I've got to drill a hole from the fuel tank compartment through the rear firewall, I guess you call it, so I can run wires. I've got to mount gauges in the console and 4 momentary switches. We've got Luke at the moment just assembling the front struts from Boss Airbags. I think at the end of this video, I will put a whole list. Now, I might do a second video going through every part I brought because I think it might actually require a full fucking video. So I'm gonna drill holes, saw 2 holes here, nice and evenly for the gauges. The switches, I'll just put in a little panel here into the glove box. I still want this open because I want to use this. The blue ute, the rear bags will be on a sedan window switch, but just nutting it out at the moment. So what I'm going to do first is get all the fittings out, figure out what's what, start pairing them up, and we'll get there. What we got here is the valve block. Now this is just an eBay special, so cheap, very cheap. So what we're going to do is we'll have a look at this. Now you can do individual solenoids, or you can do this block here, yeah? Now you could buy an even nicer block if it's a car that you are wanting to keep for a long time. Now if you look at this block, we've got smaller ports, we've got bigger ports, yeah? They're numbered. I don't know if these are numbered, but we got in and out, and we got in and out on this side, yeah? So the air is going to exit here, and it's going to go in from the compressor, from the tank, into this side, yeah? And you can have twin entry, okay? Or you can have single entry. It's up to you. If you have single, you block the other side off. You got to put a silencer on the exit if you don't want a lot of noise. Now, these smaller ports here, we got front left, front right, rear left, rear right, or whatever it is. I don't know the configuration, I have to look it up. But these ports here, right, these go to your gauges, yeah? So one's gonna go into this, next one, that, you know what I mean? But if you had front left and then rear left, you'd run them obviously to your gauges. So you have your rears on one gauge and your fronts on the other gauge, because these have 2 ports, 1, 2, and you can see there's 2 different needles, yeah? So pretty simple sort of stuff. And this is your loom, goes to your switches and your power. Pretty simple. But what we've got here is when you get these kits, with this one off eBay, you don't get any fittings. So I took these down to Industrial Fasteners here in SA, and I brought all the... I was saying, so we got to go from these ports here. Fucking, it's going to be a dog to me now. I had it out a second ago. These ports here, what we're going to do is all this car, I'm running the nylon push lock fittings, yeah? So what I'll do is I'll lay them out. So I'm going to now, off camera, quickly find all the fittings. I'm going to put the fittings that I need on this, on the gauges, and on this port, yeah? And then we'll touch base. And we're just going to go through this step by step, and then I'm going to explain to you guys, because I'm not very, like, I don't know, knowledgeable in this sort of field of like airbags and all that sort of stuff. So some of you in the comments might be able to give some advice, but I want to try and cover this as I'm doing it, right? So if I can do it, you can do it. There is no difference between us. So when I'm jumping in the deep end, this is how I have to process it. I have to just do it, and I have to buy extra things and do this and do this. But I'm gonna do this, so I'm gonna have some hiccups so you guys can learn. All right. So, and then we're gonna put it in the car. We're gonna troubleshoot together. All right. But we should be pretty good because I have done extensive YouTube research. Anyway, I'll touch base when I get these fittings sorted out, eh? Giving it a go.
Film me right in my face. I'm about to cut off a drink.
All right, so me and Luke are just sitting here. We just decided
We're trimmers.
we're trimmers now. We're gonna do the suede wrap on the just these little pieces of the steering wheel. So they're got a few little ripples in them, bit average. So they unscrew from the back once you pull the back cover off the steering wheel.
If you do it correctly, they look like this.
If you do it correctly.
They should look something like that.
That's just a nice little piece, you know what I mean? It just makes because you're looking at that steering wheel. You're looking at the steering wheel the whole time. So we've got this freshly retrimmed wheel, again from Costa Automotive. And just with the inserts, that's going to be a nice little thing. Because also off camera, I've done the pillars that run alongside the glove box. Wrap these in the same material as the door card. I think it's all going to tie in nicely. Let's continue. I'll show you the steering wheel when it's done. All right, so now we've got our gauges mounted. I've given the console a quick clean up and a prep sole. So there's a few scratches and stains on it. So obviously before we put it into the car, I'm going to give it a quick little spray with the black vinyl paint, just a 1K product with a little bit of Flex Aid in it. So we'll give that a quick little dust. getting to the pointy end here. Console's obviously fitted out, freshened up, ready to rock and roll. What I'm doing here in the back of the ute is, gave this a quick clean up, nothing special. We're gonna mount our compressor and our valve block and our pressure switch in this compartment out the way. We're gonna mount our tank on the rear firewall, just because this particular tank for 4 corner airbag is gonna be a little bit too big to fit in here as well, but on the other ute, we'll be fitting it in the spare, in the fuel tank compartment. Okay, what I'm gonna run you through. Now again, I'm not some airbag expert. Honestly, I've never fucked with it before, but this is what I've figured out. What I've come up with is gonna be a good way to do it, all right? So I'm gonna run you through all the airlines and all that sort of stuff on the floor so you can get an idea of what I'm doing, right? So we have a look at it here, right? We've got front struts, rear bags, right? Let's just assume this is the width of the ute. This tank we're gonna imagine's on the rear firewall there, and the compressor, the valve block, and the pressure switch are gonna be in this fuel tank compartment, right? Okay. So we're gonna have our compressor. Now you can use a single one or a twin one. I'm gonna try and do a single one on this ute, but like I said, I think whether you use one or two, it's gonna be, we're gonna fuck around and find out basically on this ute. I'm gonna give you a genuine review of what one compressor does. This is the VZ 444C compressor. See, it says 444C, right? Anyway, we've got the compressor, we've got a valve block, we've got a pressure switch. The pressure switch, well, how that operates is that sensors, like these things, these sensors up the top, wires go to them, yeah? So I can't explain the exact way it works because there's no point me even trying. There's plenty of YouTube tutorials that will give you a pretty good explanation of what that does, but that's going to tell the compressor when to turn off. So when you hit 100 PSI in the tank, this tells, it cuts the power to the compressor. All right, let's just simplify it like that. But what I'm going to have, compressor, push lock, feeding this one. All right, that's the feed, yeah? Then we're going to have 1, 2. Those two fittings are going to come out of the tank, one into this side and one into this side. In, yeah? This one here is going to go to our pressure switch, yeah? Pretty simple. Now I've blocked off the other side of the tank, and then underneath there's pretty much a block off. What it is, it's an actual tap, but it's not going to be used. The only thing I'm missing, which I had on the counter and I didn't end up picking up, was a water trap, yeah? So a water trap, same as in when you're painting on your spray guns, all that sort of stuff, the water traps. The water trap is going to go from these two. We're going to have 2 water traps before the solenoid, yeah? So the water trap, let's say it's here and here, before the air goes in to the valve block, right? Just so that we don't have any issues, any water, any bullshit going into this. And then off the water traps, there's usually a drain on the bottom. So that's going to be our drains. Now, on this side, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah? These ones here are going to go to our gauges. So we'd have like front left, front right, rear left, rear right, and they're going to be running to our gauges in our center console. So pretty simple. And then these 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, let's just say, I don't know how this configuration is yet, but I will look that up. But let's say 1, 2, left rear, right rear, you know what I mean? So it's pretty simple. So these 4 go to your four corners, these 4 go to your gauges. Now we're running 2 gauges, and both of the gauges have 2 needles, yeah? So if we flip this over, we've got our fittings, 1, 2, 3, 4. Understand? So hopefully this has given you a bit of an idea on the ground how I'm going to lay it out. And then obviously we've got 2 going to our rear bags, and the other 2 are going to the front bags. These particular bags have a fitting up here, underneath here, push lock as well. Okay? One more thing. These solenoids, valve blocks, this other fitting here, this gold one, is where the air exits from. We got exits, exits. Now what these fittings are here, they're a silencer fitting. So you just reduce some of the noises coming out, okay? The only other things I can think of is this little fitting, I'm pretty sure you get it with the compressors, is a one-way valve, this one here. So what that does is it allows air to go out, but doesn't allow it to come back in, which could fuck the compressor. All right? I think this is pretty simple. Now, I'm talking before I've done it. I'm not usually a big fan of this, but I'm trying to take you through it as I go. And if I have an issue with what I've explained, once I put it in the car and once we get air to it, I'll explain to you the issue, even if it makes me look like a dickhead. All right? Because I feel like we're all going to learn together today, aren't we? So pretty simple, okay? Pretty simple. And like I said, I think in the next video I'll do an overview video, which goes into details about the exact fittings I use, where I got it from, the prices, etc., etc. Yeah, so let's chuck it in the car. First, we'll mount the tank. What I've done is I've actually used nutserts. So these little nutsert things here, that's how they come. They screw into the nutsert gun. And then when they're done up, they compress on themselves. See how that's compressed? It's sort of like a pot rivet. But it's going to be there and there. And then we're also going to nutsert the compressor, the valve block, and we're going to somehow fasten the pressure switch in this compartment. I'm going to drill a hole down there somewhere into the cabin where the air lines and the wires are going to run, okay? So, we've got in here today, compressor mounted, valve block mounted, tank mounted, right? That's all happening. What I've done is I've drilled a hole at the bottom there and put a grommet. Now that was just a boot grommet that I've cut out the center. That goes through down here, right? And that's where our air lines from the gauges are gonna go through into there, right? What we got here now is we've got to run a battery cable from the battery through the car to the compressor. Right now, we're gonna run one of these, which is a isolator or whatever the fuck you want to call this thing. Pick this up from Realport Traders. Then the cable is gonna run down through the car. There's a grommet down here. There's the grommet there, right in the corner. So that's just a blank. We're going to run a battery lead through there, into the back, through this same hole. You can see the grommet right up in the corner there. So let's do that now. All right, now the next thing we're going to go over is these fittings that I'm using. They're a push lock fitting, yeah? So as you can see, this end of the fitting, you push it in to release it. It's got little jaws in there. And this is the nylon line, right? So you just put it in, clicks in, and boom, we're on. Just like that, real simple. And then to release, you pull it down, pull it out, sort of thing. You know what I mean? So that's just a little explanation on that. So I don't want to leave you guys in the dark. So again, just the line literally pushes in and it's done. You can compress that, pull it out. I'll show you from another angle so you can see. Push this in, out. yeah? Put it in, done. Just like your dick. Real simple. So we're up to doing a little bit of wiring on the switches here that are going to control the airbags, the up and down motion. These are going to be mounted in the console, and the wires are ran to the valve block, right? So I'll give you a quick little rundown on these switches. I think they're called momentary switches or some shit like that. I don't know. I bought it from J-Car, just an electrical place. They're basically like they go to the center. You know, you got like a switch like this, but you can press it down and it comes back up. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's what it is. I think they're about $8 each or something like that. We got 4 of them. I'll just show you what I'm doing here. Now, again, I can't give you the reasoning of exactly of why. I just know this is how you do it. All right, so what we've got, there's 6 prongs. See the prongs? There they are. So what we're doing is we're going from the top corner to the bottom corner. See how that crosses over? Crosses over here to the bottom. We're going from the top corner to the bottom corner. So it's creating like an X motion. And then off those 2 wires, there's another wire that I've soldered on. So we got our positive and negative. Because it's got something to do with its switch's polarity, with each way you switch the switch. And then these center 2. So the center 2, positive and negative, these actually go to the whatever you're controlling. So the valve block, and these 2 coming off the bottom, the ones that are soldered, these 2 are going to power. So the power that's powering the switch. All right, pretty simple. That's it. So let's rock and roll. Okay guys, so we've got those momentary switches wired up. All the wires ran, so I'll show you a few little things if I can find the torch. So I went down and picked up a couple of these. What they are, a fuse holder. It's sort of, this thing here plugs into your fuse box, usually where there's a spare fuse. The fuses actually go into the top of it, and you can just tap into a wire. So I picked 2 of those up. And these are going to control my switches and power to the relay that's going to control the pressure switch. So you can see, I'll sit this here, got 1 and 2, right? And that wire's ran down there, all wrapped in cloth, and 2 here, right? Then, you got to bear with me because it's a bit hard to do this by myself, filming this by myself with the lighting, if it's going to stay there. So out of this loom, we've got 2 wires. Power, this power wire here is going to go and power the switches. Yep, and then we're going to have another one coming out of the switches, which is going to ground to the body. Clean a bit of the body up, nice ground. The other one here is accessory power that's going to run into the back, into a relay. Yeah? What I'll do is I'll edit in a relay the diagram of how you run this. This is a bottom pad. You get these base pads from Realport Traders, probably Auto Pro as well. So you put the wires and the clips into the bottom, and then you get your 40 amp relay. And what it does is it clips into your, now keep in mind I'm trying to do this one-handed, but it clips into your base panel like so. So you can mount that. It's nice and neat. Looks tidy, looks professional. Yep, so we got accessory power here, battery power from the front here, compressor power here, and we got our pressure switch here. So we got, you can run it both ways, open circuit, closed circuit sort of thing. I don't know too much about these, but yeah, or you can get the 2-prong ones, which is probably a little bit more user-friendly. So we're going to have one of these terminals go to the relay, and the other one is going to be powered from the ignition or accessory power. Let's put it all together. Guys, I'm wrecked. Wrecked. But, all right, we skip forward a little bit. I've got the car working. I've got the airbags working. Not the airbags, but the valve block, the switches, the compressor, everything. Now, don't look at it yet, right? It's a bit of a mess because I haven't taped it all. I wanted to make it work before I tape it all up and finalize everything. But well, this is what it looks like at the moment. Bit of a mess. We've got ourselves a little relay here with a little block, loom coming out of the back of that. We've got ourselves our pressure switch. We've got some earths down here. All right, we got a loom that runs around there. We've got our plug for our valve block. That's all wired in. These two down here. All right, they're all labeled and everything, so I know what was what. All soldered, heat shrinked. Got our power cable going towards this. Got our gauge air lines in. Got the air lines out of the tank. Now again, this is all a mess at the moment. Nothing's fastened, nothing's finished off. So bear with me. Lot going on. Let's have a quick look inside the car. So inside the car, we've got more of a mess. We've got our fused wire coming out of the fuse box. We've got this other wire here that's powering the relay. That's off an ignition source. We've got our gauges. Our switches here going through the console. We've got our gauges. We've got our switches, gauges. All the wires are ran through the console, down the back, into the grommet hole. Now let's put the battery on. We've obviously got our power wire coming off here. Key. Now I wanted this all ran off the ignition. Hear that? That's the pump. Now how this works is when it hits tank pressure, the pump will turn off. Got the gauges. Boom. Lights in the gauges. There you go. Happy days. Now that still hasn't been plumbed to the four corners of the car, so we've got to do that to seal the system. We're getting there. It's been a big effort, a lot of just figuring things out as I go, research as I go, but I feel like if I can't do this all myself, without getting any help, there's no point in me doing a video on it. All right, so I'm doing it all. And then at the end, like I said, we'll do another video explaining absolutely everything as well. So I want to lay a whole kit, start to finish, on the floor for you guys, so you can get your head around it like I have to do, because I'm sort of a visual learner. You can't just explain to me. I can't just read something. It doesn't work like that. But we're getting there. I'm going to make this nice. I'm going to make this as serviceable and usable as I can. And I'm going to share it with you guys. All right, so next step is we're going to get this on the hoist, and we're going to look at putting our rear bags and our front struts in the car. But in the meantime, this is Dim's 32 Ford. Bit of a rush, so we might touch on this as well next week. It's getting ready to go to Adelaide 500 on show, so we're going to paint it, do a few things, got some wheels going in it. So it's a pretty cool car. It's chopped, it's low. It's a bloody death trap, but I love it. So we got some new wheels going on there. I think I'm gonna do a quick little patina paint job on it. Heaps of stuff going on. So I've got to get this off the hoist now, put the ute on the hoist, and get into installing the bags. Let's do it.